So, hi Renee. So, tell me about your day. Tell me any challenges you faced today. Just fill me in.
Okay, so I had class today,
Mm-hmm.
and stats isn't really my thing. And
Mm-hmm.
while going through like the assignment that was posted for the class, I was getting extremely frustrated to the point where I didn't even want to ask for help. And so I then decided to sit there frustrated at my paper, and because I was so frustrated, I wasn't able to complete my assignment. And in doing so, obviously now it's going to affect my grade in class. So I think I left the classroom and went home knowing, one, disappointed in myself, and two, frustrated that stats isn't clicking the way it's supposed to. And because of my frustration, I'm unable to talk to my professor.
Mm, I see. So you were saying because your frustration, you can't talk to your professor. Is there any other ways you thought about going about this?
Excuse me. Not necessarily. I was more so just like trying to figure it out myself. I did get the idea of talking to my peers in class, but I'm also kind of shy, so I was like, that probably wouldn't work. So then again, I just sat by myself and tried to complete my assignment.
But I can tell that you tried to at least try to talk to your peers. I know the thought came to your head, at least for that matter. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, as far as the stats class go, we gotta kind of figure that out. So why do you think it's not working? Why do you think you're too shy to actually converse with the professor and figure this out?
Honestly, I think it just happens to like it's just the way that my professor teaches, and I think I'm also just nervous to ask, like raise my hand and ask a question from the class, because that saying, no student or no answer, there's no dumb answer. But
Uh-huh.
I just don't want to be that one that has the dumb answer that day. So I think I just usually
Yeah.
sit quietly, and I'm just like, okay, I'll just wait, but try to figure out
Yeah,
myself.
I understand that for sure. What are some more challenges you face, or is it just your stats class that you really struggle with?
Some other things I struggle with is I think just my time management as well. Which is why I feel like that has to do with my frustration, or at least not being able to time manage my class to get my homework done on time for this stats class, or even manage my time in the sense of raising my hand or asking a peer. So then I probably would have finished my assignment on time. So I think that's something else that I'm struggling with.
I noticed that you've been saying frustrated a lot, or frustration for that matter. Do you feel like school makes you frustrated in general?
I would say specifically this course because I'm not the biggest fan of math. So I think having to be in math, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just immediate frustration. I think it's just kind of like a mental block I'm having that anytime I do see math, it's an
Yeah.
immediate like, oh, this is going to be a struggle. So I think I already kind of placed myself to accept frustration.
I can understand that. You kind of hear that quite often. Um, but I did notice you did say that you struggle with math. So what are your other favorite subjects that you do like?
I love English. I think it's reading the stories and the discussions that we go through, because you do read all these old stories from Shakespeare and you're able to connect it to the world that we're in today. So I think that's a subject that, makes me feel free and involved.
That's really nice. I like to hear that. Free and involved. Interesting. Those are interesting words. What made you choose those?
Because I actually speak in that class and I feel like I could be myself. Because with English, there are gray parts, whereas I feel like math is more of a black and white. So it's either you're right or you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in English, it's kind of more so off of your own perspective. So I think that's why I enjoyed the class as well.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I definitely understand that. So what I'm gathering though is that stats makes you so frustrated. The coursework makes you frustrated. Not being able to talk to your peers because you're shy makes you frustrated. Not being able to go to your professor makes you frustrated. But English, it makes you happy,
Very.
and you feel free. And I feel like this is something that you can take into all of your classes. So I feel like if English is something you're happy in, why don't you try to translate some of that energy towards your stats class so you can try and improve? Is that something you're thinking about considering?
I'm willing to try that. Going there with a new perspective, a new mindset will probably help how I face my statistics class.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about anything else, or is there anything you want to let me know?
At the moment, no. But I do want to say thank you and I appreciate your time today.